All right, let's get into it. I want y'all to read this first. And what I'll say in this situation is two things can be true at the same time. I actually had no plans on voting for the position of US president up until about 2 weeks before I went to vote. As I already stated, the only presidential candidate that I endorsed was Larry Elder. He's the only candidate that had an agenda aimed at solving any of the problems that disproportionately affect the Black community. Outside of providing for my family, which I'm fortunate enough to not have a problem doing, that's what I care most about. So he was my candidate, but he's not on the ballot. So there was no point in me voting for the president. But I ended up changing my mind. And by the end of this, you'll understand why. By the way, Jill Stein isn't on the ballot either. It's Trump, Harris, two people I've never heard of in my life, and an option for none of these candidates, which I was going to take originally. But even if she was on the ballot, I still would not have voted for her because I share the opinion that voting for someone who doesn't have a chance is the same as not voting. But after Larry Elder withdrew his candidacy, I was immediately drawn to RFK. I think he was clearly the best candidate of the people left. And not to diminish him, because I think he's a great candidate, period. He's somebody I would vote for any day of the week if I didn't have a specific agenda that was important to me. I think his desire to take on Big Pharma and provide proper oversight for the FDA is not only admirable, but it's important. And hopefully, if Trump wins, he provides RFK with the ability to do some of that work. Because you could tell it's something that he's passionate about, obviously because of what he's been through. It's not just something that he was running a campaign on. But more importantly, I will vote for RFK because he has integrity. The type of integrity Kamala doesn't have. The type of integrity Obama didn't show a few weeks ago when he decided to speak negatively on Black men for not doing something that clearly doesn't benefit us. The type of integrity that I wish Cory Booker would show. Listen, man, Cory Booker has a resume of really being there for people that is unparalleled. But until he shows that he has the integrity to break away from a party that the people who truly support him knows isn't serving him well, the world will never see that. But bottom line is, RFK, a lifelong Democrat, broke away from the Democratic Party because it no longer aligned with his values. That is something that I respect because I respect integrity. But even RFK, having a stronger backing than most candidates who run as an independent, knew that he did not have a snowball's chance in hell because he's not aligned with either party. That's reality. And what's also reality is the mass mind control that causes that to be the case. Most people don't know who or what they're voting for. And they certainly couldn't explain why they're voting for that person. They're just looking for the blue or red, dim or rep next to the candidate's name. Because they made up a long time ago that they are one or the other. And they haven't considered voting outside of party lines ever since. It's a part of their identity. It is absolutely sad that when it comes to choosing a leader of the country, the people in the country aren't interested in choosing the best candidate. Vance Elliott Wright said of the last video that everybody needs to hear it. Well, everybody needs to hear this also. Becoming an independent thinker is the best thing that anyone can ever do for themselves. Because when you're not, you're so easily swayed. And not only is it embarrassing, it's dangerous. I see people falling for so many false narratives, and it's simply because they don't think for themselves. I'm critical of everything. That's why you can tap on so many videos on this channel and see me attacking a false narrative. I'm so hell-bent on attacking these narratives because I know that the vast majority of the hurdles that my people will face are mental. A lot of us have to feel like it's okay to have a belief, an opinion, a lifestyle, etc. that's different from others in our communities or society in general. It's a lot of Black content creators whose content sound like they're seeking the approval of others in the community to feel the way they feel. That's trash. But that's not me. How many times have y'all heard me say, I ain't buying it, Jack? I don't have a problem speaking on anything, any topic. You have all these content creators who, afraid to touch on certain things because it's going to get their channel demonetized, going to get their channel taken down. What y'all want to know? I'll speak on anything. What y'all want to know? Y'all want to know my views on abortion? Cool. I don't believe in abortion. I have never and will never abort a child because I look at the opportunity to conceive a child as a blessing. So it's an easy decision for me. I don't care if I go completely against what I said in the past, completely against my morals. I don't care if I bust down a snowflake the size of a Toyota and get her pregnant. I don't care if my wife, who I love dearly, is crying her eyes out, files for divorce, and vows to take every penny because of it. I am not asking that woman to abort my child. I am not denying a seed of mine the opportunity to live, create, and make their mark on this world. However, if I had to vote one way or the other, I will vote to legalize abortion. And it's not because I support my body, my choice, although in a sense I do. I support you having a choice to not engage your body in sexual activity. I support you having a choice to place birth control in your body. I support you having a choice of having a contraceptive play as a barrier between your inner body and their outer. I support you having a choice after the fact to place pills in your body that negates the opportunity for another body to start growing in your body. See, I support your body, your choice. That's just not the choices that some of you choose to make with your body. But the reason I will still vote to legalize abortion is because I don't want kids born to parents who don't want them. Simple and plain. And I don't want the stipulations put on it for things that happen less than 1% of the time, because all that's going to do is create an environment where men are dealing with more false accusations because some woman doesn't want to deal with the responsibility of her actions. Is that clear enough? Y'all want my opinion on LGBTQI+? Okay, cool. I had a gay uncle, I have a bisexual wife, and a lesbian sister. I can care less if people of the same gender want to mess around with each other, be together, get married, change their genders, whatever. As long as nobody's trying to force me to do anything, I could care less. But let me be very clear. That shit does not belong in schools or any type of media made to influence children. And any politician fighting to lower the age of when someone can legally change their gender should not hold a position as a janitor in an office building, yet alone hold public office. And I can care less what anyone thinks about it. Anything else? Let me tell you guys why I decided to vote for president. The more and more I watched Kamala campaign, I wasn't comfortable in just taking away my vote from the Democratic Party. I wanted to make sure my vote was tallied for Trump. The main reason why is because the Democratic Party stole the democratic process from the American people, and they need to pay dearly for that. Otherwise, we the people have set a very bad precedent that allows these parties to configure a way to circumvent the democratic process in the future. Kamala Harris is not who the people of the United States would have chosen. They knew Joe Biden was not up to par, and they tried to sneak him through for a second term. And when what they knew secretly showed publicly, they tried to save face by throwing Kamala out there. Joe should have been forced out before the primaries, and the American people should have had the opportunity to choose the best candidate from that party. The fact that no one stepped up to do this before the primaries shows that there is no integrity in the party. I want this shit to be a landslide. So I added my snowflake onto hopefully what becomes an avalanche. And if it goes the other way, I'm not going to bitch about it. I can only control what I can control. But it's not like there aren't things that I like about Trump. I like the fact that he's an independent thinker. His talking points aren't Republican talking points. Go listen to the debate. Who in the debate was talking about no tax on tips, doing a third-party audit on the U.S. government? These aren't Republican talking points. He just has the audacity to run as a Republican and still think for himself. That's not a quality that Kamala possesses. But these are the opinions of a free thinking, free speaking, bad mother, shut your mouth. Can never take this from me. I have detached from everything. See, I'm able to explain my thought process on why I like or dislike a candidate, a policy, a cultural issue, a hot button topic, whatever, because I'm not worried about who agrees or disagrees with me. I'm able to vote for whoever I want to vote for because I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I've been registered nonpartisan for 8 years. I can form my own opinion on social issues because I don't assign myself to a social group. I'm not a liberal or conservative or, feminist or red pill or manosphere or FBA or none of that bullshit. I call out the nonsense in our communities because I am not under the pressure of being a real nigga. I'm a real man. I'm able to say what I want on YouTube because I have no fears of being canceled, losing subscribers, being demonetized, none of that shit. They can have it all. And I know I'm going to lose subscribers to this. I do every time I talk about politics. What am I talking about? I can care less. YouTube can take my channel. The difference between me and other creators is I can easily form my essays into a book and actually cash out on my writings. But then it doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of reaching the people that need to hear it because they're not picking up books. But before I get out of here, I want to make it very clear that even if the Democratic Party didn't circumvent the primaries, even if Kamala won the nomination fair and square, I still would not have voted for her. She is a puppet. See, it became concerning over 2 years ago that Joe Biden was no longer fit to be president of the United States when he started falling asleep, started falling period. And when he was incoherent at the debate, the skepticism many had that someone else was running the country became a certainty. I think it has become even more apparent since Joe was forced out that someone else is in charge. RFK has a law degree. It sounds like it when he talks. Barack Obama has a law degree. It sounds like it when he talks. JD Vance has a law degree. It definitely sounds like it when he talks. Kamala Harris has a law degree, and the woman can't answer a simple question. And it's not that there isn't a simple answer to the simple questions asked to her. It's just that answering the question will be going off script, and she can't do that. And I caught this out immediately when I talked about how we all saw Joe Biden at the debate, and she went on CNN afterwards and acted like what we saw with our own eyes wasn't the truth. There is no way you can convince me that this woman was a prosecutor. Ain't no way. Where? Isn't their job to argue the facts? Isn't the burden of proof placed on the state, aka the prosecutor? I am convinced that everyone who was convicted during her tenure as a prosecutor was either caught clear as day on 4K doing the crime, or they had a public pretender who was just as incompetent as her. But then again, the jury could have been just as gullible as the people who are voting for her now. And you know what? I shouldn't say that, but I'm not going to edit it out. But I shouldn't say that because just like I was voting on a black agenda, there are other people who are more concerned about other things that aren't being discussed nationally. And Kamala might be their candidate for that reason. If you're a woman who doesn't feel like your issues have been addressed by the 100% of men who have held the office previously, I completely understand why you would vote for Kamala. It could be a bunch of reasons why. As long as you can explain it, cool. But if you're voting for her and you don't know why, you need to do a deep dive and find out who's controlling you. I think the most offensive thing they have done wasn't waiting until 3 weeks before the election to engage black men. I think it was basing their campaign based off what she'll do different from Trump's presidency. The last 4 years have destroyed us, not Trump's 4. The American people want to know what these presidential candidates are going to do different from Biden's presidency. And the fact that she had the gall to sit in an interview and say that she'd do nothing different, it's not that she doesn't know how fucked up things are. It's just that she's not calling the shots. She doesn't know what she can say yes or no to. She doesn't know how much of her own opinion she can impart on the script. She hasn't been briefed on how to answer some of these questions. And she does not want to say anything that will highlight the incompetency of the party. And by doing that, she's highlighting the incompetency of the party. And I've seen enough. We cannot allow this to set yet another precedent that destroys the American people. Just like taxes. What was it? Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, where he spoke about how taxes were designed for the rich, pitched to the poor to be for the rich. Shit, I know I pay over $400 a check. I ain't rich. It's time for the United States to shake up its politics. I have some thoughts that I'll plug into a different video, probably do a night stroll or something like that. But yeah, this ain't it. And by the way, the proper time to engage black men in the election isn't 3 weeks before the election. It's right now for 2040, if you ain't know.